welcome once again to Clinical Theurgy, Episode 8. Episode 8. It's only taken us 3 attempts, or 4 attempts, to make this episode happen.
Fourth time's the charm.
Nothing but constant, perpetual problems. So, how is everyone? Is everybody doing good? Does anybody have corona? Oh shit, I just got demonetized.
I mean, I think I have some in the fridge. Do you want some?
Ugh.
Yes.
So, who remembers where we left off last week? Or last session?
You left off after some intense combat, where someone got KO'd twice.
That was after they fell into, like, every trap. All of the traps.
Hey, that wasn't just that person that fell into all of the traps.
I mean, we pretty much all fell into, like, all the traps. Other than, I think you got across, like, 1 or 2 by the little ledge thing, but pretty much all fell into all the traps. And then got to confront Ego and Sterling and find out about their master plan to pull off a heist that then they would have, like, given the money to Nico, and
We found out Nico's daughter is sick with the madness, and they were going to do this heist and give the money to Nico for her treatment.
Well, and then money mysteriously disappeared. We haven't gotten to the part where I give that back to Nico yet, so...
Nope. Right now it looks as if he had no money.
There's no money in the evidence. I don't know what they're talking about.
But they did recover how many of the items that were missing?
All the ones related to what's-his-face's case.
yeah,
that we never
Taron's
solved.
case.
Yeah.
And the items, I'm assuming, well, the only item from any cases we had they're looking for was the money, and then the item, the, like, like, I think of it as, like, find fault item, or whatever the heck it is.
Mhm.
That.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. The
So
fine
we know
fault
that
item.
they got that item, and then other items from other of Taron's cases, but I
Okay.
don't think we were told exactly the number of items.
Nope, you were not given an exact number of items, and you guys did not pick through things. So,
Sort of, but...
well, yeah, I mean, you browsed over a couple of them, but, like, there were no skill checks related to identifying them or picking them up and testing them.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't know what any of the items other
You know,
than
in
maybe the one we
fairness,
were
it
looking
was
for
really late.
Yeah. Well, no, and I didn't really expect anybody to either, because the knights kind of burst in not long after that.
And
Oh,
they-
also, Ego tried to kill himself, and
twice.
twice. And we
Yeah.
wouldn't let him, and then we also told the guards, or the knights, before they took him away, that he should be on suicide watch, yeah.
Yep. It's okay. He'll kill himself. It definitely will be him that kills himself.
Whoa.
Like,
Oh, Ego didn't kill himself.
is the footage just gonna mysteriously vanish?
Now, in this case, it would be better for him if he did die, but that will actually not happen.
Well, sorry, bud. Like, you
We
didn't
did
give
it.
me enough information to make me want to let you just off yourself trying to do my job.
oh,
here.
Why? Why didn't he just want to explain it to you and then let you let him die? What about
thought-
him explaining it might have created a problem?
I thought you were saying he didn't give us enough information into his plan. I was like, he gave us a lot of information about his plan.
Let's deal with some of these ramifications of what happened after last session. It was late for everybody, not just the players, but also all the participants in the story. The moon had been far past the midpoint of the sky. All of you were rather tired and had wrapped up a very complicated case. However, none of you were allowed to return home. You were all brought back to the barracks, and you were all, like, asked to spend the evening in one of the cells of the dungeon.
For what?
Well, a crime has occurred here, and you're the people that have committed the crime. Until we have straightened things out, we'll need to keep you in custody.
What is
What crime
this
have we
bullshit?
committed?
Breaking and entering. And
No,
damage
go
to
on.
private property.
We didn't break and enter.
The door
They
here.
had an illegal trap outside that I fell into, and then we had cause to go in and see.
Sure. These things will all be revealed in time, but we take our time to make sure that these things are as you say they are. So, it will take a bit of time.
Did any goblins report this?
No.
Oh,
This is
Making
being
sure.
reported by Sterling. Or not by Sterling, I'm sorry, by Ego. I guess technically then, yes, a goblin did report it. Sorry. I did not think about that in the moment. I don't typically think of Ego as a goblin.
Are they escorting us there immediately or?
Yes. You guys are brought to a large cell. It's not really like a cell per se. This is obviously a place where they put people who are not like real criminals. It's kind of like a holding room that the four of you can rest in, at least to some degree. It is very noisy though in this room. There's not a lot of sound dampening, so you can hear a lot of the knights clamoring about as they move through the town. Or as they move through the building. After some time, I don't know, does anybody think they probably can't eventually rest here?
I mean, I wouldn't want to,
Okay,
ideally, but
I probably wouldn't care either way.
okay. How about Ghoul Ron?
I mean, like I'm at 9 HP, so I don't know if that means like I'm tired and want to rest.
Yeah, you'd be
but-
exhausted at this point with that little
Yeah,
HP.
so-
Oh, doesn't Antaeus, doesn't he have like 0 HP? He's probably pretty tired.
probably.
And Teus would have been like sort of hobbling on his way to here.
But I don't like the idea of being incarcerated and
Yeah, and also Antaeus seems pretentious enough that like he probably can't fall asleep on anything below 400 thread count.
those 2 hours of meditation I need as an elf are
Prissy.
too much.
Yeah, you got to have the proper like sheet on the proper like flooring with the proper amount of pillowing.
Hey, look, there's nothing wrong with having a certain lifestyle, like a nice upper middle class lifestyle.
Would it be okay if we actually healed everybody up? Like, are we allowed to cast?
You are not permitted to cast spells in here.
What about before we go in there?
Those of you that have spell component pouches or weapons would have had those things removed, as well as any alchemical stuff. And you will also find that in this room, the deities do not respond to your prayers. So
they didn't take my holy symbol?
they did not take your holy symbol, but you
Okay,
cannot refresh your spells.
Okay. Yeah.
Your spell points will not basically recover if you are a cleric. Your spell points will recover if you are a arcane class, but you will not be able to memorize spells or cast them, for that matter.
Did they take my flute?
They know you're a bard, so they would have taken your flute. And you are banned from singing. If anybody catches you singing, you
Banned
are
from
to be attacked on sight.
Jesus.
What about orating epic poems?
That they know of, she is
Word.
not an orator, so they are not concerned with that.
Got him.
I'm gonna practice my stand-up comedy.
Shit. Oh, they're
I
all
was
fucked.
definitely thinking about making a character like that and then taking Tasha's hideous laughter.
So,
Good times.
it sounds like everybody but Antaeus will probably at least get some measure of sleep.
I will, if people are like not all sleeping at the same time, I would ask if it would be possible to get my required. It is 2 hours, right,
Mm-hmm.
of meditation. While one of them is still awake, because I don't like the idea of being in this cell, and I don't like the idea of all of us sleeping at the same time in this cell.
Well, I mean, you've kind of agreed that Antaeus is a bit of a snob, so I don't really think he's going to be able to meditate here. I don't think he's going to be able to find a point to clear his mind and sort of reflect. So for the time being, well, I know you guys have leveled. Until I say otherwise, everything you do is at a -1, as if you had not leveled.
Fair enough.
Meaning, like, don't use new level spells or anything?
Yeah, if you got new spell levels or new skill levels, please let me know. Until you've actually had a night to rest on your own and reflect on things, you will not have technically officially leveled.
Okay.
So about what about the stuff that? Well, actually, no. I don't know if I would have had time to actually
You would not
transfer it over.
Yeah. So each of you are one by one, eventually escorted to a interrogation room. Does anybody specifically want to volunteer to go first?
Gulran will volunteer to go first.
All right.
Oh, good. Starting off on a strong suit.
I should follow Gulron. I have better charisma,
So-
and I can probably smooth over any.
Gulran, you are brought to the interrogation room.
Maha's gonna have my balls.
And a very burly-looking dwarven man in full plate comes in to speak to you.
Ah, my fellow brother. How goes it?
I wish it were better.
As do I.
Breaking and entering is a serious offense. You know that, right?
Yes, I've been... I'm very familiar with the law, yes.
Now listen. I need to know. Why'd you go in there? What did you hear? What did you see?
Well, the main reason was one of my companions fell into a trap in front of the door of the place we're alleged of breaking and entering.
And was there any signage prior to you entering the area?
Out of character, do I recall?
There
any
was no
signage?
signage.
Okay. No signage that I could see. This was clearly an illegal trap set out.
And what caused the trap to trigger then?
I'm sorry, out of character. I'm trying to remember. What did she do to trigger? Did
She
just walk
bumped
on
the
it?
door.
Yeah,
bumped
she
the door.
literally just like brushed up against the door as she was trying to put flour on the
Okay,
door.
I'm not going to keep asking out of character. I'm legitimately not trying to lie, so if I say something wrong, it's just because I
Okay.
personally don't remember. But anyways, yeah, she bumped into the door, I think, when she was walking by it.
You're sure that was it?
I'm pretty positive, because then I tried to get her out, and I tested it with my warhammer. I just tapped it, and I fell in too.
What led you to even investigate this location?
We were... I'm trying to remember. We were following a suspect in another crime.
And whom was this suspect?
I'm assuming
We
Ego
thought we
is
were,
a...
yeah.
Yeah, some of this I want you to sort of be a bit fuzzy on, because again, this happened like super late at night, and you've barely had proper sleep. So your character would be a bit fuzzy on details.
It was that mischievous goblin Ego.
So you followed Ego to a place,
Mm-hmm.
saw him go inside, and
Yes.
then happened to find a trap.
Not happened to find a trap. My colleague was investigating the premises and accidentally bumped into the door, I guess, and triggered the trap. And then at that point, I had to help. I feared for my friend's companion's life, so I sprung into action.
You can understand how this seems pretty suspect, correct?
Yes, of course. I mean, if we were to do things completely by the book, we probably should have got backup before we approached the house, but it was late and we were afraid he was going to get away. The suspect of the crime would have passed.
It would have been a more efficient way to have done things, and a more clean way to have done things.
Yes, but if we would have called for help, they wouldn't have got there in time. He was a tricky bastard to follow. He used some invisibility spells, and it was hard to even track him to this place.
And it was just the four of you working on this case, correct?
We had outside consultants give us whereabouts of his to catch his trail.
And whom were the outside consultants?
It's a fellow I had just met that night, and I'm Tauron, maybe? What was his name? He was we kept the details small with him. He just had some information for us, and we accepted it willingly. I think he's been hired to help with a lot of the cases as well. And he knew we were investigating on behalf of the ministry, and he came to us willingly with some information on some of his cases. We didn't tell him any confidential information that I'm aware of. At least I didn't. But
Very good. That'll do. They will return you back.
wait, make sure you tell Maha I didn't do anything this time.
She'll be informed of the details.
Oh God.
So after they bring back Gulran, you don't have to worry about being the second person, Brianna, or volunteering, because you are the second person. What a coincidence. A party member goes and has, vouches for Tehran, and then Tehran is involved in this investigation somehow, and has information that theoretically no one let anybody know he was privy to. Let's see how this plays out.
Is there any way you could circle back to me? Jose's taking a work call.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sorry.
In the meantime, while that is happening, actually, they will pull Antaeus aside.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess that means it's me by default, huh?
Well, no, I mean, this actually would happen. Well, in the middle of hers, you would have been pulled aside by somebody separate.
Yeah, but I mean, given the circumstances. I see you, kid.
Evelyn wanted to play.
You meet with a very tall, heavily armored elven man. He waits, he leans against the wall as you're led into the room and looks to you as you sit down. Give me a perception.
Oh, you know what you should have done? You should have pulled a Koibu and asked everyone to take their headphones off until it's their turn to see whose stories lined up.
This isn't really that big a deal in this particular case. If there was worse to it than that, that is absolutely what I would have done.
That'd be funny.
A 14 perception is enough to... You think you recognize this person? Antaeus, good friend.
Hello.
You've done an interesting thing.
I've done a lot of interesting things.
There it is. Listen, what do you know about this ego chap?
I know that he has been brought into custody, or at least so we're led to believe, and that he has spent some time in what was it called again? His jail, jail place was called.
The dungeons is what the
okay.
yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking it was something more elaborate than that.
Mm.
And I know that he has spent some time in the dungeon prior to that, prior to his career in securities.
I heard he was attempting to kill himself. Was that correct?
That's what it appeared to be. Is that given the circumstances and the position that he was in at the moment, he had attempted to drink some sort of presumably deadly, toxic mixture of some sort. I wasn't directly near him, but it did appear that way, yes.
So you'd say it was very clear that he wanted to die.
I would say that... Well, I would say that given the position, I don't think that it was a healing potion, no.
Well, you're a little evasive here, Antaeus. I was hoping you'd work with us a little bit more. You see, I thought maybe you had gotten a little more interaction. You spent some time with some other goblins recently, yes?
I did meet with, I ran into the goblins that roam around the, what was the area? The
eastern Eastern Knightsbridge.
That hang around the eastern side of the city. I ran into them and spoke with them for a few moments.
Yes, I believe you did a little more than just speak with them. Was that correct?
Well, it seemed like that they might have had information that was beneficial, and I was doing my best to get that information without having to...
You facilitated exchange of sorts, yes?
I mean, nothing illegal happened. They had-
Of course not. That's not what I'm implying here, Antaeus. It's okay. We're all friends here.
all I was doing was trying to do anything I could to assist them in remembering the details of what happened that day and perhaps finding out more information about the person that broke into Nico's house.
Yes, and you're very concerned with making sure that the things are on the up and up, right?
Of course.
So, would you happen to know anything about whether or not someone may have had information they shouldn't have had? Perhaps Ego did, or Sterling did, or maybe an investigator by the name of Tehran?
I know that he was investigating what was going on, and I forget the name of the company, but with the
yeah, that's
missing
fine.
item.
But no one else that you know of shared any information with him that may have been relevant to the case that he didn't already have?
No, I'm not aware of any information that was shared with him.
If by any chance you do happen to find out that any information was shared with him about this case, either before or after, that is private to the Ministry or to the Knights, you would inform us immediately of such things, correct? You know, there's quite a bounty for people who send information to the right channels when things are not on the up and up.
I'm not sure that I follow.
I mean, let's say that one of your friends just happened to have... You happen to find out that one of your friends happened to have shared confidential information with an entity that is not directly affiliated with the Ministry. Well, this would be a crime. This would be sharing state secrets with an outsider. There are rewards to be gained if you happen to come across anybody who's done these things, and if you shared that information with us, and we could prove its legitimacy.
I believe I understand.
Excellent. So I'd say it's a good idea to keep your eyes and ears peeled.
If I come across anything, I will make sure to let you know.
Very good. I've got no further questions for you. You'll walk scot-free from this. No, worry not.
Am I allowed to leave now then?
Certainly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will do so.
Okay. But as you're walking out, he kind of walks beside you. But not before making sure that next time I see you, you take care of me. Until, like, he lifts up his visor to show you his face. You've actually met him before. He has bought things from you periodically, or, like, in some either direct or indirect way.
Ah, yes, of course.
And he'll lower his visor back
I
down.
almost didn't recognize you.
It is very difficult to identify me with all of this on, obviously.
It's very good.
Yes. Well, I hope you have a good rest of the day.
You too.
I'm good now.
Perfect.
By the way.
So, you are brought into the room with the dwarf. All right, the jig is up.
What?
What'd you share with Tehran?
Well, I think we shared dinner. You know, he did this funny thing where he was like, he kept sending plates back and stuff. You know, it was kinda
That's
funny.
not what I'm talking about, and you know it. What happened afterwards?
We had sex.
That's not what I needed to know. Please.
I mean, I don't understand what you're talking about.
The information that you had. Surely you shared it with him.
No, actually, we had a very lovely dinner. You know, we were talking about what made us get into our individual lines of work. If anything, Tehran gave me more details to help my investigation, but I didn't share anything with him.
Then why was he helping you in finding out what was going on with Ego?
I mean, you'd have to sleep with me to find out.
What?
I'm just saying, he really, really had a good time.
This is deplorable! We cannot have this kind of behavior. This is not very up and coming of a knight. Oh, you're not a knight.
No, I'm a bard. Want me to sing you a song?
No! You are forbidden from singing.
Okay.
So you just go around sleeping with people and then allowing them to hang out with you in whatever cases you're working on. Is that how this goes?
I mean, I don't allow them to hang out with me, not like that, but, if they're cute, if we hit it off, sure, why not?
This is not how we're supposed to be doing things. This is not how we process government business.
I mean, I don't see the problem.
Tehran is not a member of either the Ministry or the Knights. This could have been a very huge information leak and could have resulted in a large, catastrophic series of problems.
Could have, but it didn't. I mean, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to just share information with someone who's an outsider.
I don't know what Maha sees in you people.
I mean, I don't have any aspirations of being a knight, but I mean, I do want to make sure that the right thing happens and that, the people that are the criminals get brought to justice.
Oh, the criminals will be brought to justice.
Good, I'm glad. They really need to be.
It is very hard for them to hide from the light of the Knights.
You guys are pretty good at your jobs.
Much better than you might think.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you're on it.
You're dismissed.
Okay. Bye.
Elizabeth, after she is returned, after Brianna is returned, you are brought into the room. The dwarf doesn't even ask you to take a seat. What's the deal with your little friend?
The little one.
The one that sleeps with everything, apparently.
I mean, apparently she has a really high libido. I don't know.
Did she share information with Tehran about the case that she shouldn't have? Do you know?
I have absolutely no idea.
Did she actually accidentally end up in that pit? Did she mean to do it?
It was a complete accident. We were watching her, and 1 minute she was just walking over there, and the next she was gone, and it was nothing intentional. We had no idea that pit was there, and I was concerned and banging on the door saying we have probable cause because I need to get my partner out of this pit.
You did mention that there was probable cause, and you announced it loudly.
I yelled it multiple times that we have probable
Thank
cause to come
God.
in here.
Your friend didn't mention anything about confirming probable cause.
I'm pretty sure I yelled it like 10 times while trying to beat down the door.
That is probably how we ended up there. I'm assuming somebody eventually came to get us from that.
Probably I was not very quiet.
All right. Well, this is some good news. Very, very good news, then. We should be able to process everything fine. We can probably let the four of you go. Your friend Antaeus has already been released. Someone else vouched for him very closely.
Lucky him.
I would keep an eye on that Brianna, though. People like her, they get into a lot of trouble unwittingly.
Yeah, she seems to... I don't know, man. I need to get her more food in her. Maybe that'll make her less crazy.
Yeah, a good like high-calorie meal should be able to really help her
I agree.
keep her mind in a much more focused
protein.
state. Yes, absolutely. Get her a nice steak dinner.
All right, I'll get on that.
In the meantime, I have some positive news, if all this shakes out okay. We saw that you had put in an application for knighthood, and your application is currently very high on the stack. We have word that there was great reason to move you to the top. And there will be some renovations in the dungeon, thanks to you.
Renovations in the dungeon?
Yes, as part of your promotion. You'll be joining us soon as one of the knights.
Oh.
You'll still work alongside the ministry, of course.
Like, what does this mean?
If you think about it, you'll realize what it means.
Oh, God.
So, this is a very excellent job that you've done. Congratulations on 2 successful issues being solved in the town. We expect to see you help make sure many more are solved. It's not often we get investigators like yours that do actually get to the resolution of the problem.
That was my main focus, is resolving it and bringing him in.
Excellent. Well, we are going to return. I'm going to return you back to the rest of your companions, and you should be released shortly after.
Do I see
Right.
the dwarf when
Thank
he
you.
takes her back to the cell?
Yes.
Brianna will wave and wink at him.
And he turns, seemingly like more frustrated than he probably should be at that, and heads away.
Oh,
What did you
Steve's
What did
door.
you do to that dwarf?
I answered his questions.
All the doors in Steve's world have high blood pressure.
Not all of them, but a great deal of them. They have larger vein structures, so they do actually have like increased capacity to handle the increased blood pressure.
Heyo. Protein.
So, the 3 of you will shortly after that be released from the cell. Gul'ran, you can pray and regain your spell points. The rest of you can do, I guess, for Brianna, that doesn't matter as much. She'll just get her spell components and will have her spell points. Elizabeth, you may also regain your spells or your spell points. And I don't know what the party wants to do at this point. It's been kind of a rough night into a rough day. There's no cases pending. You are informed that none of you are expected to report into work today. You have a few days of break time in between before you need to report back in. This is pretty standard behavior here. Whenever you solve a larger case like this, they want to make sure that you're not coming in with any like leftover baggage from the previous case that might affect your mood or change the way you'll handle things. So they give you a nice kind of clear head period.
Should we have like a debrief with Maha like right after? No.
No, not yet.
Okay.
In this particular case, there's a lot of stuff to process. And a lot of things have to be followed up on. You got the questions you had to answered or asked. Debriefing will actually come a little bit later because of the complexity of this case. This case doesn't just involve the actions that you did and what happened with all of you. This involves like multiple different cases that have occurred. You guys will find out that it was, I think, 7 cases. Hold on. Where did I put the list? I don't know. I had a list, and I lost the list. All this stuff just lost from the list. Anyways, about 5 it was somewhere between 5 and 7 items that were pending otherwise.
Oops.
Thanks. Fixing the cam since they were out of order. Inadvertently. I didn't even notice that when I transitioned it over.
Oh, whoops.
No, it's now fixed, so
All right.
thank you.
On purpose.
So yeah, what do you guys want to do over the next couple of days?
Well, Brianna wants to meet up with Tehran. See how
Yeah, she does.
Heyo.
Elizabeth's gonna casually be like, "Hey, Brianna, the next couple nights, you want me to take you out for a nice dinner? Like, just platonic, just friends. I don't want to sleep with you."
Brianna will accept.
Okay. So you want to meet up with Tehran. You two are going to have dinner on some of the nights. How about Gulran and Antaeus and other stuff that Elizabeth might want to do?
Volunteer my time at the Theurgy.
Okay.
What time were we let out?
For you, it would have been like late morning, so little before second sun's rise.
I'll go about doing like normal day activities for a little while until like a little bit after, presumably Nico would get home.
Okay.
Probably like roughly like maybe an hour or so after he'd get home.
Okay.
He didn't tell us he has the money, right?
Nope.
Only you know that. Okay.
Yeah, he's not mentioned a word about it. And anything else that Elizabeth would want to do?
She'd probably start like poking her head around work, being like, "You sure I can't do anything? You sure there's nothing I can help with? Are you sure there's nothing I can do?"
If you actually do come by the office, Maha will actually have a conversation with you. So I'm gonna process these in this order. We're gonna do Antaeus going to meet up with Nico, because actually no, he would not get home till late in the day. So you'll actually be the last one. I'll be processing.
Yeah,
here.
I would probably show up around dinner time and
I was
try to.
I was thinking about whether or not you would know that he would not be working today, but you have no idea that he would not be working today.
Yeah,
so.
and then I would try to like talk to him and see if I could get invited to dinner, so that way I can you know, casually just be there.
So then let's do Elizabeth first, and then Brianna.
I'll be back in just a
I think
minute.
that will work well in chronology.
It doesn't have to be like in conjunction with Ryan or anything, but at some point Brianna would want to like maybe pick up a toy or something to take to Nico's daughter, because she does feel pretty bad that she's sick.
Okay, that'll work out well then. All right, so let's jump to Elizabeth heading over to the ministry, because you just basically like leave out of the building and head over, and you're probably like probably a bit panic stricken, right? The idea of like not having to work today just means your brain is like free to wander.
I think especially like after like the knowledge we got in that like encounter, I'm like, I just don't want to think about any of this. Like, please give me some busy work. Can I file something? Like, I don't give a shit what it is.
Yeah. So you make your way in, and eventually somebody will let Maha know that you're like roaming around looking for like tasks, or like picking up tasks and doing them. And Maha will like call you into the office. Elizabeth, what is the meaning of this? What are you here for? You're supposed to be taking time away from here right now.
I don't have anything to do, and I get restless at home. I just thought maybe I could do some mindless work that actually helps me decompress better than anything else. Just like mindless paperwork.
Well, okay, then let's go over some of the details of what happened last night.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So, what happened? Where were you at the start of the evening? That is.
Yeah. So we had gotten a reliable tip that Ego was leaving his his place of business under some possibly magical or hidden means, and going to another location where we believed that maybe he was holding some of the items that we had been trying to track down. And sure enough, we did have clues and see that it appeared that someone was leaving that business under a probably invisibility, we surmised, as we could see like footprints in water and things of that nature. So we followed him and got to the building that they entered. And then we proceeded to kind of stake out the building, trying to watch, just see what was happening. We tried knocking just to see if anyone was there and anyone would speak to us, and got no reply, no answer, nothing. So we decided to just stake out for a little bit. At one point, Brianna went up to the door to just check it out again. And then all of a sudden, she just disappeared. And I didn't see what happened. I just know one
terrifying.
point. It was. I had no clue where she went. And all I could think was, I need to get into that building. We have probable cause. We get up there. We see that it appears that she had fallen into a trap and gotten a little bit hurt. So my initial reaction was just get my team member out of there, and they had a very strange door that was very difficult to break down. So I kept banging on the door saying, "We have probable cause, open up, let us in," and ended up having to basically beat the door in over a course of probably about 10 minutes to finally get through.
It's a long time, especially for someone like you.
It did seem like a very long time to get that door down. I was extremely frustrated. So we finally get into the building, and now at the point we have kind of like gotten her like out of the trap, and we're just trying to figure out now like who is in this building, what are these people in this building doing, why do they have a illegal trap outside, as there was definitely no sign stating that there was a trap. And then we confronted Ego and Sterling, and they had some unfortunate story about why what they were doing should be justified, and well, as you know, it came to an altercation. They attacked us first, and unfortunately Sterling got away, as I was able to get him to stop the fight, but in order to help save the others, I had to go after Ego, and in the process Sterling escaped. That was most of it.
And how did it make you feel to know that Sterling how does it make you feel to know that Sterling got away?
I mean, it's frustrating. I was trying to obviously bring them both in to get both of their, sides and information and both of their parts to play. But I guess as he did end up laying down his weapons, I'm glad that we at least were able to apprehend Ego. I mean, it would have been nice to have them both, but out of the two, Sterling seemed a little bit like the lesser concern.
How much do you feel like this is bothering you, though? Does it seem to be like biting at you worse than other things normally do?
I don't think any worse. I mean, there was some troubling bits of information, but just processing it like I process everything and get on with work.
You tend to bury yourself a lot in work when things get stressful, don't you?
Yeah, I find when I go home and try to just like relax like they tell you to do, my mind just sits there and goes through every little thing that went wrong, every little thing that could have gone differently, and my mind just kind of goes and wanders and does crazy things, and I find it's actually more beneficial and relaxing to put myself on a task, even just basic menial ones, and they kind of the thoughts sort of work themselves out that way better.
Do you have any friends outside of work, or are you a more lonely person?
I wouldn't say I'm lonely, but I don't have a lot of friends outside of work, no. I've kind of been in a straight shot as I grew up. My parents being who they are, went from one task to the next, and not a lot of time for social interaction.
Listen, this may seem a little bit unprofessional, but perhaps you'd like to join my wife and I for dinner at some point in the future?
Oh, she has a wife. Sure, that would be fine, I guess.
That would be nice. Perhaps maybe being able to spend some time around more people and not just on casework might help alleviate some of the stress you're under. I think you're dealing with a lot, and it doesn't seem like, from what I've read up on some of your past, it doesn't seem like your family is very supportive of where you are now.
Not particularly. I am taking Brianna to dinner, so I have that going on.
That's good. Try to make sure you don't focus on anything related to the case over dinner. Try to give yourself some free space from that.
I'm gonna focus on getting her to eat a healthy meal for once in her life.
I think she eats well, but don't push her too hard. Those halflings don't necessarily eat a lot at once. They eat a little here and there, but they eat as they eat. They're like mice, Mice eat a lot over a long period of time.
She's just so small and scrawny.
That's the nature of her kind.
You need to be beefy for this work. Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
Brianna, you head on over to Tehran.
All right.
Are you heading to his office or to his home?
It's daytime, right?
It is daytime.
I would assume then I would go over to his office.
Okay. You can knock, and he will let you in. Oh,
Okay.
It's good to see you again. I was not expecting this.
Yes, I just wanted to see how you were doing.
A little saddened by the fact that it's not my name on the resolution of this case, but it is resolved nonetheless, and I got to play a hand in making sure that Ego got what he deserved. So, you win some, you lose some, but at least I got to have a little fun in between.
I know what you mean. Did you were looking into him for several cases, weren't you?
Yes, he ended up being what seemed like the only rational link in a lot of cases that I was working on. A lot of cases. A very... yeah, anyway, sorry.
I was just gonna say when it comes up so often, it's hard to believe in a coincidence, huh?
Yeah. Especially, I mean, I don't want necessarily to point fingers and believe that the criminal is the criminal again, but, I mean, the evidence is there. You have to follow the trail, as I'm sure you're well learning.
Well, hopefully they'll pay you well for helping us solve the case. Like,
well, I will get my cut, of course, from Assurance, and it will be quite a good cut. In some ways, it's very weird, you know? Ego referred me to Assurance, and Assurance was willing to pay my highest rate, no haggling. I always get haggled. There was no haggling. I was very well taken care of through a lot of this. I wonder if perhaps... maybe it's in my head. The clues add up to something that... I don't know. Maybe I'm just misreading things, or maybe it's wishful thinking of sorts. But
well, I'm just glad that you'll be taken care of. I was worried that they might try and stiff you or something because technically we made the arrest, but I didn't want to affect your business as well.
No. I won't get my bounty, of course, for the items being recovered from anywhere else, but I will get my bounty from Assurance. There will be enough in the papers to say that I was responsible.
Misclick, sorry.
No problem.
Well, it probably feels good to also be vindicated. I think there were people that thought that you were just maybe needlessly focusing on Ego.
No. The vindication is not as nice as just knowing that this case is solved and I can finally get some rest. This is not something that I wanted to have to keep troubling myself with. I expect that people will often not believe what I tell them the first time, the second time, the third time, even the 20th time. It's very normal in my profession that you present the evidence and people continue to tell you that that's not the truth. You wouldn't believe the number of people that I've had literal photographic evidence of intercourse, and their partner is still not willing to believe that these are true photos. Or sometimes I won't have evidence, and I'll have evidence to quite the contrary, and they will refuse to believe that there isn't some other way it could be happening, even if I had been tailing the person for well beyond every hour of the day.
People will believe what they want to believe, and sometimes a lie is easier to believe than the truth.
If it's pretty enough, you can sell anything.
I just want you to know that, there were some concerns over what you and I discussed, but I told them, we were seeing each other socially, and but I did tell them that you were nothing but helpful with us with the case. So
I believe I was very helpful with some of you.
You were.
So, I appreciate that. It's very important because they do regularly try to make a show of you have information you weren't supposed to, we need to take you in. It is very important that if we engage in any more of this sharing exercise, that there aren't loose ends that might want to get in the way. So I would even, as much as you might not feel in agreement, I would advise keeping your lips sealed about anything we might share between each other, as far as it refers to work, of course. You can feel as willing as you want to discuss other things that I might do or help you with, and how good they are.
Well, I appreciate that, and as you know, I can be pretty discreet when I need to be. So
surprisingly discreet.
Well, I'm glad to know that you're doing well, and that it seems everything's ended up well for you as well.
Yes, I am doing well and better now. Do you have a little bit to stick around?
Sure. I have dinner with Brianna later, but with Elizabeth later.
But good, there's plenty of time for me.
Absolutely.
All right, and with that, let's go to our break. Gulran, I will have some stuff with you, and then we will jump to meeting up with Nico. We'll see you guys shortly.
All right.